parents need to update their mental model because the world that your kid is growing up in is completely different. And the sooner that you understand that and understand that you need to have a new playbook, I think the better situated you'll be to navigate this. I think the second big thing is you have to communicate with your kids early and often. First part of that is you have to create the space for good, meaningful conversations. And that's going to be different kid to kid. One best practice here is like be shoulder to shoulder, right? Not necessarily in a direct contact, because hard conversations that need to take place, if you are shoulder to shoulder, might be easier. But find a way, a regular outlet where your kid has that opportunity to have hard conversations with you. I think the second thing is parents need to explain the why. If you're going to embark on a path in which you are limiting the use of technology as your kid grows, you need to tell them why. You're actually doing this because you love them, because you want them ultimately to have a good childhood and to grow into the world where they'll have full utilization of all the tools that are out there, but the ability to use them in ways that actually help them live well. And that's why I think the mental model for parents and kids should be that of a car. It's like, as a parent, I want my kids someday to get their driver's license and have the freedom that comes with driving a car, but it's a big responsibility. And they need to understand that this device can do a lot of harm and that they're going to obtain ever greater levels of use of it as they progress. I think the third big thing that parents need to do is actually set the table for success. And by that, I mean like adopt actions in your own home, in your own life that are going to equip your kid to emerge at the other end of 18 with some ability to use tech responsibly. So what does that actually look like? Number one, I think you need to find a tribe. Go find other parents that are willing to adopt similar rules as you and similar practices in how they use technology. If your kid is the only one in their class of 20 that doesn't have access to social media, that's hard. If they're one of 8 that are, as that group of 8, abstaining, it becomes incrementally easier for them to do that. So go find a tribe that wants to live out a different way. I think the second thing there is that you have to crowd it out. If you're going to take something away from your kid, give them something in its place that's actually compelling to them. So this will look different for different people. But for my son, if I got him, I was like, we're not going to get you a phone and you're not going to have any tech time, but we're going to sign you up for these Ninja Warrior classes. For him, he would take that trade-off. And every time he thought about not being part of something else, he would say, but this is what I have instead. Mm-hmm. So I think that can be really helpful. And then the third is like, you need to be an exemplar. There's this great book called The Tech-Wise Family in which Andy Crouch said in 2017, when the iPhone turned 10, there was a generation of 10-year-olds in America who had spent their entire life competing with the iPhone for their parents' attention and oftentimes losing, which to me was just heartbreaking. In part because I felt that, right? Like I am prone to, on the couch, pull it out, or...
We're addicted too.
Yes, we're enamored with these devices. And we're in this honeymoon period where each individual interaction with it seems so innocuous and so simple. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with me checking my email right now. But aggregated up, my kids see that and they're saying, this is okay. I see how this works. So being an exemplar for your kids is important. Which I think that's the last point, which is, I think the extent to which you can adopt a family tech contract that has rules that apply throughout. So in the Clifford household, no phones at the table ever. We do not ever bring phones out at the table, restaurant or at home. We never let phones into a bedroom.
Not even at the restaurant. You
No,
don't use the phone as a
especially not at the
babysitter.
restaurant. No. I cannot tell you, when we go out to restaurants now.
And you have 4 kids.
We do. And it's hard. It is not always an enjoyable experience for my wife and I, because we are really attuned to it.
Yeah.
But our kids, mine are 10, 9, 6, and 3. They've gotten to the point now where like they can sit at a table and behave. And it's beautiful. And we as a result have great family dinners now. There was like a 3-year period where like that was miserable, but we worked through it. And I think it's important for them to do that because if you go out to any restaurant today and you just like look around, more than 50% of the time, groups of people there, someone will have it out.
Totally.
And I think it really detracts from like the interpersonal connection that comes from when you're actually engaging with someone and there's no distractions. It's powerful.